station. This is Houston. Are you ready for the event?
Houston, this is Luca. I'm ready for the event.
ESA, this is Mission Control Houston. Please call station for a voice check.
Thank you, Luca. Welcome.
It's a great pleasure to be here with you. You know, when we are in a small boat in the ocean or when we are walking in the countryside, we feel the earth is immense and nothing can destroy it. But I believe from there you have a better picture about the limits of the earth, of its beauty and its fragility. Can you tell us how do you see the planet and how the fact that you have seen it from there has changed your own perception about the risks of climate change?
First of all, good afternoon to all the participants, and thank you for having me participate today. Welcome on board the International Space Station. From up here, we have the unique privilege of being able to look at our planet with our eyes. It is something really hard to describe in terms of what we feel and how it makes you feel. I can tell you that our planet is incredibly beautiful, and words really don't do any justice to the kind of beauty that I want to express, because there are so many little details that are visible from up here that I would never be able to see otherwise. We also see its incredible fragility, and the fact that we are witness to it and we can witness year after year, it's frightening, saddening, and also gives me the push to try harder every day to do something. In the 6 years that have passed since I was here the first time and this year, I have seen with my own eyes that the terrible effects of climate change. And so I hope that my words can bring some strength, some human strength and human feelings to the somewhat hard to understand data that can feel cold to the eyes of the common person. But what I talk about when I see the effects of Hurricane Dorian or Harvey or the flooding in the rivers, when I see what kind of destroying power the forces of nature they become worse and worse every year can bring, maybe people will listen to me. What I want to tell them is that our planet is our only one. We don't have another choice right now. The planet Earth is the one planet that we have, and we are all in this one planet. We are all astronauts in a way, because Earth is a spacecraft floating in space, and it's the only place that can give us hope and can give us life. So we have to do something, and I think all astronauts believe that. Every astronaut I've talked to, before and after becoming one, and before and after seeing the world myself, have expressed the same feeling of wonder at the beauty of Earth and desperation at seeing its fragility.
Well, Houston, sorry for the protocol that we started in a different way as usual. Luca, global climate action needs radical collaboration across countries, between public and private entities, and from stakeholders across sectors. And this can bring about the systemic transformations that we need. Similarly, collaborating in space has often brought about unlikely partnerships that wouldn't seem possible on Earth. Do you think we could learn from space to create the alliances that are needed to address the climate emergency?
Well, I certainly hope so, and I believe so. I've had two Director General of ESA since I was selected. One, I love to say that ESA is the world champion of collaboration, and that was my first one. And right now, Ian Werner likes to say that space is a bridge that joins different worlds and can make the future happen. And look at it. ESA is made up of 22 countries. 22 countries with very different background, very different history, and they all come together in one common view of what we should do with space exploration, the future of space flight, and so on, and this objective of understanding our world. And then we have the International Space Station program, where you have ESA, so 22 countries, and then you have the United States, Canada, Japan, and of course Russia. Very, very different countries, very different history, and we all cooperate. Why and how? Well, I believe that there are two things that really join people and can make a moment of trust and desire. One is the big dream. A big dream can join people. Space exploration is a huge dream. It's been with us for forever. We want to understand our world, our universe, and the only way to do it, to explore it, is to put our feet on different planets, put our eyes on it, touch it. We want to feel the sand in our gloves. We want to feel we want to leave the footprint, and the only way to do it right now, today, is for everybody to come together, despite our differences. Well, the other way to join people is to find one common enemy. And today we have the number one enemy is what's destroying the world as we know it. And it's the changing of the climate, it's the rising temperature of Earth's climate. And so that is the number one common enemy. We need everybody to come together and understand that the only way to fight it is through cooperation, through innovation, the redistribution of resources, and putting those resources into new ideas. As a matter of fact, for the stakeholders, it could be seen as an opportunity to do something completely new and revolutionize the way we have the world right now. I'm talking about transportation, energy, food production. All these things can be revolutionized using technology and what we know today to make a better world and to join everybody into the fight against a changing world.
Well, I must say that I am really impressed by the cooperation among all the countries that you've quoted. I think you have a much better cooperation in the space station than in the Security Council. And I can only hope that your example can fructify here also in the planet. But the truth is that we are still increasing our emissions. The truth is that we still do not have, from the countries that are the biggest emitters, a clear commitment in relation to how they are going to reach carbon neutrality and when. The truth is that even if technology is on our side in many aspects, and even we see public opinions, the youth, the private sector, the financial sector, the cities, the regions, there's still a lack of political will. Is there a message that you want to give from there to all governments that are preparing their national determined contributions for next year about what they need to do in relation to carbon neutrality?
Sir, of course, it's really hard for me as a single individual to express something so complex or to have the solution for all that. It's impossible. But what I wish and what I hope and what I want to convey is that our politicians, our world leaders, they need vision. Vision. Because nowadays it seems to me that we are only capable of looking at what's happening today and tomorrow. But that's a very limiting way of thinking, because it it puts us into a cage. When we think about what's happening today and tomorrow, we need to think of what's going to happen 10 years from now, 20 years from now, 50 years from now. We owe it to our future, and our future is not us. Our future is made up of our kids and our children that are growing into a world that we are creating for them. And so if we only think about this, think about having vision. Vision means taking a very hard challenge and turning it into an opportunity for growth. Taking an obstacle and turning into an evolutionary step. So there is more than tomorrow's election. There is more to the world than a seat on a panel. What we need is the vision to understand that there are things that we need to sacrifice today so that we can be better tomorrow. But that sacrifice will only reap benefits in the future, because some of the comforts they would have to give away will come back in a multiple way in the future. And I'm thinking about cleaner transportation, cleaner air, cleaner energy. All these things are available through technology, and space technology is an example of that. We are constantly improving what we know through our studies for the benefits of Earth. That's why we live up here. That's why I'm spending 200 days up on the space station with my colleagues. We are trying to improve technology and science in a virtuous circle. Those things can be applied to Earth, and it's high time we pulled our head out of the sand, because that's just when we refuse to see what's happening. And we need to look at the problem in the eyes. We need to see the problem in order to change it, and in order to change ourselves, and treat it as one common goal for everybody, and for everybody to hold hands and just keep moving forward.
Lucas, let me explain a little bit the surroundings that people are seeing here. So Luca is not standing, it's holding with his feet onto one side of the space station in order not to float to the other side of the space station, but looks like he's standing. Oh, well, Luca, thanks very much. It's in the European module, Columbus, full of stuff to do experiments and full of cables, and everything is, even though it doesn't look like it is very tidy, it is as tidy as it can be done. And maybe one other question. We were talking to the Secretary General before. The connection was made that and to the moderator, that one picture taken by astronauts from the Earth started all of this conservation and movement. Everybody saw the Earth for the first time and realized how little it is in the middle of the universe. And now what we're doing is trying to use space to study Earth. So I just came last week from the ministerial conference in ESA. We're going to spend billions on new Earth observation satellites. Do you think that space still has the capacity to actually bring everyone together around this idea that we do know, and we know every day more what's happening to the Earth, and what do we have to do with it?
Thank you, Pedro. I think that it's pretty obvious that when you are inside the problem, when you are on the ground, like I was saying earlier, you can have a vision, but it's always going to be your sight is limited by the horizon. You cannot see beyond the horizon, and so you only think about a problem looking around yourself, and you don't have the big full picture. Well, that's where space technology comes in. You said it was a picture from space. Absolutely. There was a single picture taken of the Earthrise, and nowadays we have a constellation of satellites, the Copernicus Sentinel constellation of European satellites that are constantly monitoring our planet. And in a way, they're taking the global pulse of the planet, checking on how the fever is going. And those data are available to everybody so that we can improve our knowledge of the climate change and use the data to act on it. And that's what we're lacking. The data, we need the action. But the science that comes from space is the only one that gives the full global picture. And we need that. We need it in order to understand how everything is connected and everything affects everything. If you're only looking at the regional or local environment, you may be driving the wrong conclusions. While when you look at a big picture from space with our satellites, with our data, with our science, then scientists can really put everything together like a big giant 3D puzzle. But there is one more thing that I'd like to point out. That first picture was taken by a man. And today, we have a human spaceflight program that takes hundreds of thousands of pictures every year to share with the public. Now, we are telling a story, because no matter what the story is, whether it's beautiful or whether it's terrifying, if nobody tells the story, then it's as if it never happened. We are telling you the story that we see with our own eyes, and we take the picture, we test, we bear witness with our pictures to what we see and what we feel. And that is something that no other program can do. You need a human in space to tell the human side of the story. So yes, space technology and our human spaceflight still has a very important role to play, both in terms of giving you the science, the technology, the data, the big picture, but also to give you the inspiration, seeing the beauty and the fragility of Earth through the human eyes.
We are really, this is a great statement. We have 2 minutes left. I would like to give the floor for you to give the floor to the Secretary General for a final word.
If you can ask a question.
My final question is, you mentioned beauty and fragility. Can you give us what you find more beautiful and what you find more fragile when you look at our planet from there?
Sir, that's Mr. Secretary. It's a very hard question. Those who know me, my friends, my family, they know that I almost never put things in ranking because I wouldn't do it justice. And I'll give you an example of why. How would you rank the beauty of a sunrise versus a sunset? Or the noctilucent clouds, the mesospheric clouds, which are very high in the atmosphere, and when the light hits them right, they turn into this amazing color, this amazing blue color that I've never seen anywhere else. And it's the color of thousands of years of patient evolution of our planet. Or even the simplest of the clouds in the morning when the sun rays hit them from the side, and there is a single cloud that just sparks like light, and it turns into these amazing colors. Or the different strata of the atmosphere. When we are in an extravehicular activity doing a spacewalk, we see all the different layers of the atmosphere. It's a beauty beyond words. The waves of the ocean crashing onto the beach, the blue turning into white, turning into sand, turning into green of the forest. It would be really unfair to pick one thing of beauty over another. Like the poet said, a thing of beauty is a joy forever, and that's what we have on Earth. We have a joy that could last forever. And as for the most fragile thing, I think that we are the most fragile thing, sir. We, the humans, because life on Earth will continue well beyond after we're gone. But we have to decide whether our fragile lives are worth investing on and make it so that we continue being good stewards of the Earth. We are the fragile loop. We are the fragile link in the chain. And I hope that that message is strong and loud.
Well, thank you. Thanks, Luca. Everybody's clapping at you. It's thousands of people here in the United Nations Climate Conference. Thank you to NASA and ESA for organizing this for us. Thank you for the message, and I'll give it back to you, to your science work on board of the space station. Give my best regards to all the crew members around you.
Wow, that was incredible. Another massive round of applause. Thank you so much, Luca. Thank you. Bye. Enjoy your day and the view from space.
Thank you.
Station, this is Houston ACR. That concludes our event as we count down to 20 continuous years of humans living and working on the International Space Station.
Thank you to all participants from ESA and the United Nations. Station, we are now resuming operational audio communications.